Welcome, fellow Maverick Toastmasters, to our Maverick Advanced Toastmasters Online meeting for November 10th. Our club mission: we are an advanced Toastmasters club which supports Maverick leaders in creating greater impact by providing advanced feedback on online presentations and leadership skills, and discovering what it means to be out-of-the-box, innovative leaders. Please welcome our Toastmaster for today, Diamond Debbie Lindsay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Let me share my screen. In the chat is a PDF version of our agenda for those who need to get in there. Can I have sharing capabilities, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Make it bigger. How's that? All right.
Works for me.
Today, we are celebrating Thanksgiving with an attitude of gratitude. For those who have known me for a while, you may recognize this little jar that I've been keeping with me for over 10 years, probably since I started in Toastmasters over 12 years now. This is my attitude of gratitude jar. So every year I bring it out and I keep filling it up with stickies of various people's, not myself, but my families, my friends, my fellow Toastmasters. Like, for instance, somebody wrote, ability to afford basic necessities, food, shelter, and utilities. Somebody was very grateful for. And another one, I'm trying to pick one deeper. Family, my girl, and my dog was on the top of somebody's list. So just an easy way to share and keep that in your heart of jars for an attitude of gratitude. And during these very cold winter months, we have very dark days. So I have literally gone in here and taken these out just to give me a personal lift. So thank you for those who have participated throughout the year. We are going to start with some of our roles. Our first role for today is Grammarian O'Connor Wordmaster, which is our newest member. Megan, are you ready for us?
Yes, I believe I am.
Great.
Today, the word of the day is going to be ineffable, which is an adjective meaning too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. I find often when I am feeling extreme gratitude for something, I find that moment to be ineffable. It's very difficult to describe, and I find myself at a loss for words and caught up in emotion a lot of times. And that is going to be our word for today, which if everyone can try to integrate as much as humanly possible. On top of that, I will be keeping track of any ums and ahs or other filler words in order to help us recognize them and reduce them in our normal speech as well as in our prepared speeches.
Thank you very much, Megan. And also, we have, can you put that in the chat? Because I'm not sure how to spell that. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay, let me fix that. Ineffable. Okay. When we're done, I'm going to put it in my little jar. Just say ineffable Toastmasters. Beautiful. Thank you so much for filling that. We also have our Hark Master. Gail, would you like to share your role, please? You're on mute.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I will be creating a quiz during the meeting on the speeches, well, on one of the speeches, because I'm the evaluator for the other one, and on the table topics, on various things that happen during the meeting to see how well everybody listens. And then towards the end of the meeting, I will be giving my quiz.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I will be serving another role today as your timer. I will be posting in the background green when you meet your minimum speech length. So we have 2 speeches today, which are 5 to 7. So at 5 minutes, I will do the green background. At 6 minutes, it would be yellow. And at 7 minutes, it'll be red until they finish. Same colors for the evaluators, 2 minutes green, 2.5 yellow, 3 minutes red. And then for table topics, 1 minute is green, 1.5 minutes is yellow, and red will turn at 2 minutes. So that's our visual for that. And at the end, I will give you a report. And we will move on from there to introduce our first speaker. Speaker number 1 is Rick Weiner, DTM, PDD. He is working on Pathways, Persuasive Influence. Level 1, Writing a Speech with Purpose, 5 to 7 minutes. His project title is Traveling Home During Shutdown. Rick is going to deliver a speech regarding traveling during the government shutdown. Help! Rick Weiner, traveling home during shutdown, traveling home during shutdown, Rick Weiner.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Wow. Are we going through some difficult times right now? As you know, and we had the great pleasure of meeting a lot of you in person recently, Lori and I are in Arizona. Wait a minute, let me correct that. Lori's in Arizona right now. I'm back in the Boston area. I'm freezing! But that's another story. I had to come home to officiate a couple weddings and as well as some medical stuff, but I don't like leaving being in a nice warm climate that we do to escape the cold. However, I was fortunate enough to have some work to do and somehow I got to pay my bills, so I'm happy to go home and let me rephrase that. I'm not happy to, but I am happy to work. I wish I could have the work in Florida or Arizona or something like that, but it's the way it is. My first flight to come back to Boston from Arizona was on Thursday. Thank God it was on Thursday and not Friday. So I said to Lori, when would be a good time for you to take me to the airport? We're staying in Mesa and the airport's in Phoenix, so it's not that far away, 20-minute drive, 15-minute drive. So she said, the earlier the better, I have to work. And my flight was at 1:50. That's 10 minutes of 2 for those of you that are mathematically challenged. So I said, I'll leave as early as 9 o'clock. We'll get to the airport. I'll have some breakfast, I'll relax, I'll sit down. I'm a pilot. I love being at airports. She said, okay. So she drove me to the airport at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I got over to my gate, which was A7. I'm sitting there for a minute, and I thought, wait a minute, I should take a look at the marquee to see what other flights are going to Boston. Well, this was already about 10:20 in the morning, and there was a flight scheduled for 9:30 going to Boston that was delayed. This is about an hour late. I thought, well, I've got nothing to do. I've got plenty of time to get back. So I hoofed it over to A17. Well, A17 is not what you would think. You don't just go all the way down the corridor from the A line. No, it ends at 14. I asked the fellow where he's. Oh, that's the next concourse over. You have to go all the way back. Well, I walked. I didn't run. I walked all the way back, got to A17, and they were just getting ready to start boarding. So I said to the woman at the desk, any chance I can get on? I'm on a later flight. She said, this room. Just wait. I'm bringing somebody down with a wheelchair. She came back up and she said to me, I need to see your ID and your ticket, your boarding pass. I gave it to her. And she's looking it up and she said, I can only get you a middle seat. That's fine. I was going to be on a middle seat on my other flight anyway. So they changed my ticket to be on that flight. And I walked right on. She said, you can go ahead, get right in. Well, the middle seat she gave me was in the more room section, so it was actually a better seat. Well, I'll tell you, it was inevitable. Ineffable? How do you pronounce that? Whatever. I sat there, and the plane still took a little while to take off, so I was leaving 3.5 hours late. Then I checked my flight that I was supposed to have, and that was also hours late. I arrived back in Boston at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and the flight that I was supposed to take, which would have gotten me in at 7 o'clock, didn't arrive till after 11 o'clock. This was on Thursday, not Friday. Things weren't supposed to be crazy yet. My friends, they were crazy on Thursday. I'm supposed to be flying back to Arizona next Monday because I have a wedding on Sunday. I'm scared. Do I get to the airport at 7 o'clock in the morning and hope that I can get on a plane? Things are really crazy. Then, to top it off, I'm listening on the news that Delta said if you have a ticket on Delta, you can cancel your flight and get all your money back. Well, I had a flight for December for Delta. So I thought, I have to change one of the legs anyway. So why not cancel the whole thing and buy a new ticket? I'll save money. I called Delta. Took me a while to reach somebody. These times, they're kind of busy right now. And they said, oh no, your flight's not till December. We can't do that. There's a $99 cancellation fee. So I had to swallow that because I had to change one of the tickets anyway. Traveling used to be fun. It used to be you'd go to the airport, you'd get on, and it was fun. Now it is so stressful that the hair's gone. What am I going to do? I looked into taking a train home from Arizona. That's a 6-day journey on the train. Doesn't work. Yeah, it's a 6-day journey on the train. So is putting up with whatever we have to put up with. I'll be traveling back and forth at least 4 more times this winter. And here's the stupid part of me. We had the house set with the thermostat set at 50. I haven't changed it because I'm afraid that when I leave, I'll forget to put it back. So I'm living in a 50-degree house. My friends, this is what I'm going through. But you know something? I'm going through it, so it's pretty good. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Rick. Best wishes on your upcoming travels. And hopefully there are no travel bugs along the way. I'd like to introduce our second speaker of the day, Lori Whitmore, DTM. She's working on her pathways. Dynamic leadership, level 1, evaluation and feedback number 1, 5 to 7 minutes. Her project title is Driving Cross Country. Tonight, Lori will deliver the Pathways L1 evaluation and feedback number 1 project from the Dynamics Leadership Path. The purpose of this speech is to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator that can be applied to the second time delivering the same speech. Lori will tell about the ups and downs of her travels driving cross country with her husband, Rick. The title of her speech is Driving Cross Country, and the time is 5 to 7 minutes. Please join me in welcoming Distinguished Toastmaster Lori Whitmore.
Good evening, fellow Maverick Toastmasters and our distinguished guest, Megan. Or Megan, actually, I think you joined recently. We haven't had a chance to meet. So you're also now part of our club. Do you think that driving across country sounds rosy and fabulous? You might think so. If everything goes perfectly well, then I agree. It's rosy and fabulous. But unfortunately, this particular trip, not everything went perfectly well. It started out fabulous. After on our first day, we went to New Jersey and I had a many-hour visit with my almost 98-year-old mother, which was wonderful to have so much time with her. And then we spent 3 days in Ohio meeting up with our Maverick Toastmasters in person, going out for this wonderful sushi dinner and just connecting and actually hugging in person. I've known Doug for 8 years and never met in person, so this was very cool. That was a big highlight for the beginning of our trip. From there, we went through several states and coincidentally ended up in Albuquerque for the balloon fiesta. We had a spectacular experience seeing these balloons, hot air balloons, over 500 of them in the sky. We had to go to bed really early and wake up. We were there by 6:45 a.m. at the field to learn that the parking lot filled at 6:30. Are you kidding me? Thankfully, Rick had a handicap placard and we were able to get inside the lot to park and had a wonderful day there. Who knew? Who knew that from there things would start to go downhill? We drove from Albuquerque to Sedona. We've been to Sedona before, having flown there many times, or at least a few times, and we knew that we would enjoy Sedona. I'd forgotten, well, actually, we never drove to Sedona before, so I didn't really understand what was involved in having to climb and climb and climb the mountains, maybe go up and down. We just flew in. We flew in, flew out. I guess we flew into Phoenix, but somehow I didn't remember the mountains in a car. It's not such a big deal. Anyway, we barely got to Sedona. It was tricky handling the roads, going around, seemed like 11 of these rotaries, my roundabouts as they're called. It was crazy trying to maneuver. We're about 2 miles from our destination, and Rick says, uh-oh, a red light just went on that said, stop engine light. Not a warning, mind you, but stop. So he heeded the warning or heeded the red light, thankfully. Pulled over, checked a bunch of things, didn't find anything wrong. And so we took a chance and drove the 2 miles more that we had to get to our destination, our RV park in Sedona. But thankfully, it was just 2 miles, not like another 50 or 100 miles. Called a RV mechanic who's a mobile mechanic who would come to us. And he came over the day that we checked in and diagnosed the problem. We had a leak in our radiator. And he told us it would probably cost around $1,500, which we gulped. $1,500 to replace the radiator and another $1,500 for labor. So we had a big sigh and just figured, okay, this is what we got to do. And he said he would come to the next day with his crew. Well, I don't know if Arizona is like Mexico with a mañana mentality, but which means tomorrow in Spanish, but he didn't show up when he said he would. He said he would be there at 1. He didn't come till 5. And day after day was going on, and he was not showing up with his crew, which they had planned to remove the radiator, drive it to Phoenix, and bring back a new one. After 3 days of going back and forth with him, I got fed up and I told Rick, we need to find somebody else. So I found somebody in Phoenix and he said, here's what you can do to drive here. Fill up the radiator with water till it's overflowing and pay attention to how much, measure it. So it took 9 gallons. And he said, every 20 or 30 minutes while you're driving, just fill up the radiator again. Well, we carry 100 gallons of water in the RV. So we had no shortage of water once we had empty gallon containers. So here we were. It was like a comedy show. Every 20 minutes, pulling over, running in the back, pouring water into the radiator. Took about 3 or 4 gallons, driving 20 more minutes. This was our 2-hour drive from Sedona to Phoenix, which took us 3 hours, pulling over, adding water, and hoping that, I drove separately. Instead of pulling the truck, I drove behind Rick so that I could see, is there all of a sudden a gush of water like it just gave out? Or is it continuing the fast drip? Or maybe slow pour. Rick thinks it was more of a slow pour than a fast drip. Somehow, by the grace of God, we ended up getting to Phoenix after pulling over 4 or 5 times and continuously adding water. We put in 13 gallons of water and made it to Phoenix. Then it started with trying to find the part. It took the guy 3 days to find a part that would fit our 19-year-old RV, and it ended up costing us $7,500. But what could we do? We needed it to work. So I look back and appreciate the wonderful time we had in Ohio with our Maverick Toastmasters, and grateful that nobody got hurt for the difficulties we had to arrive in Arizona. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lori, for sharing that wonderful story. And I'm glad it had a happy but expensive ending. And you're still on the road again. So fantastic for that. We are going to move on to the informal impromptu part of our meeting. I'd like to introduce our table topics master, Dale Force.
All right. We'll have some things on gratitude because that's one of our things here, especially on. So we shall start off with, why don't we start off with Doug? Something you've been grateful for in the past few weeks.
Something I've been grateful for in the past few weeks. Well, I think one of the things that I'm grateful for is our pets. We have two very nice cats, and especially one cat, Boo, who's so affectionate. She's great. And we had the joy of taking them to the vet a couple weeks ago. Now, our other cat, Jane, does not like to be picked up. This is not an easy thing to do. So we had to close the doors all over. Certain doors don't even close. I had to paste up a great big box to block the door because otherwise she's gonna, as soon as she detects someone might be thinking about catching her and picking her up, she's going out and under the couch. So we had to prevent that. Well, I think she must have remembered from last year because she wasn't seeing me tape the box up, but she was hearing it. And by the time I was finished, she was expressing herself vocally. Her tail was as big as the rest of her, and she wasn't happy. Fortunately, when she knows she's cornered and has nowhere to go, she gives up. And she let me pick her up and put her in the carrier and take her to the vet. Boo is much nicer about it. I can pick her up anytime. Boo is great. And we're very grateful for them. And, well, we're hoping that they will both be able to keep their health for a nice long time. Because the vet reported that Boo has a thyroid condition. And we need to get her treated, which will happen next month. But that will be another story. Back to you.
Yes, those can be great fun. I had a dog used to have to give Synthroid to every day. Easier than when I had to give him the shot of insulin. All right. Megan, I'm going to give you a hard task. Describe something you're grateful for that is ineffable.
Hmm. Well, fellow Toastmasters, I think the thing that honestly does sometimes leave me ineffable is the way I feel about Toastmasters, if that makes sense at all. I found Toastmasters at a really dark time in my life. I found Toastmasters at a point where I am a stay-at-home mom currently, and I had a career that I felt very proud of, but I was feeling very sad about the way I felt in my own home a lot of times. And part of that was the way I viewed myself, but part of that was just not coming to the group with confidence often in my own home. And when I found Toastmasters, it reminded me of who I am at such a core basic level. And it reintroduced me to such amazing adult relationships and interactions. I have found so many friends through Toastmasters, and whether it's just seeing someone every once in a while at a district event or the people that I see week after week in my club and that I make the time outside of my club to see, the feeling that I have about Toastmasters sometimes does take a minute to really put words to. And so I guess it's a little bit ineffable from time to time. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Megan. You did a very good job of expressing the ineffable. As contrary as that is. Diamond Debbie, what have you been most grateful for this past year?
1 second. Let me spotlight myself. Start the timer. I am very grateful for having a wonderful man in my life. I am currently engaged, for those who may not know. And we're getting married next December in Jamaica. However, we were supposed to go to Jamaica this December for a sneak preview time. Well, Melissa Hurricane, Category 5, took care of that in the entire country island of Jamaica. So we are rescheduling that sneak preview into after June of next year. Meanwhile, we made alternate plans because we already had the time off. We are changing our plans to go down to Oglebay Resort in Wheeling, West Virginia. And on the way there, we have to go through Columbus. And I happen to belong to another Advanced Toastmasters Club in District 40, Encore Advanced Toastmasters Club. And they're having a murder mystery dinner fundraiser that night. So I'm going, why don't we go to Columbus Saturday night, stay there, and then finish our drive to Wheeling on Sunday? And it worked out just perfect. And so we're just making the plans, get the hotel reservations and everything in. So I'm very grateful that we were able to find alternative plans to go through that. And the and have a new adventure. I have not been in Wheeling, West Virginia. I can't remember. I must have been a small child last time I was there. So it'd be a new adventure for me. It'll be around Christmas time. So they'll have all sorts of activities. They have a Christmas drive-through with a trolley train you can reserve and with a guided tour. And I said, oh, that'd be fun. I've done the driving through, but that's hard to do because your foot's on the brake for 2 hours doing 9 miles an hour. And I said, let somebody else drive. And we'll have a good time. It'll be an opportunity to get away from Ohio. West Virginia will probably have just as much wintry weather as we do, but we're going to make an adventure out of it. So I am stopping my clock because thank you very much. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you. All right. Gail, why don't you tell us something you're grateful for from a couple of years ago?
What about a couple of years ago? Can you repeat the
Something
question?
that you're grateful for from a couple of years ago.
From a couple of years ago. Well, I am grateful for my cat. Well, this was about 5 years ago or so, but I still think it fits in. I'm really grateful that we were able to adopt our second cat, Janie. I know she was a little skittish at first, like Doug described, but she came around eventually, and she gives us affection in her own way. She gives us leg rubs, which are it really feels so good. It's an ineffable feeling when you feel Janie's leg rubs. So she's just fantastic with that. She's not so much though for getting on our laps like Boo is. That's really nice. But then Janie came from a feral background. She was a feral cat for the first couple of months in her life. And so she was a little bit scared when she got to the house. Well, we adopted her from a shelter. The police picked her up and took her to a shelter in Euclid. So that's where we adopted her from. But I'm really grateful for the way Janie has blossomed so much. At first, she wouldn't even come downstairs. She'd just stay upstairs, usually under the bed. And then one day she just came downstairs. And we had this hormone called phelamine that we kept around. and that helps the cats relax. So that was really very helpful towards getting Janie to be more relaxed. And when she came downstairs, she got on the cat tree right away. And that was just wonderful. And it's been really great to see her blossom. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
All right. And what is our schedule feel like now? We have time for some more? All right. Well, all right. We've got our things here. And, well, Lori's already given us something she's grateful for. And Rick has too. But why don't we reverse some of these things? Well, actually, from what Lori told us about one of the things she's grateful for, I can understand why Rick wants to work, go the job. But tell us something you're grateful for recently, Rick.
Oh, thank you for the question, Mr. Topics Master. I have a lot to be grateful for. Yes, I'm in the cold right now and shivering as I'm talking and thinking I gotta get up and make myself a cup of tea. But I have a lot of warmth around me. For example, the lunch. I went out with one of our daughters and took her out to lunch today. Tomorrow, I have a close friend that I'm going to have breakfast with, and then another close friend to have dinner with. It's just really grateful to be among people that I really care about and care about me. I think that is probably the most important thing in the world is relationships that we carry with us. That's worth more than the cost of a radiator on a coach or the flights and everything else. It's having people to love and that love you. So I'm grateful for that, Mr. Topics Master.
Yes. And your thermostat, you may want to do what my cousin was. He was persuading his wife to get an internet hookup in his cottage so they could turn the heat on before they started on the road up. And 3 hours later, they get up to a warm cottage. It's a year-round place, actually. So, and what's our time schedule like here now? No more? All right. One more?
You got time to ask Lori.
All right, Lori. Something you're grateful for, besides the fact you actually could get your car RV repaired. I remember seeing once that I thought was a signal on my car that the radiator was going bad. And I'm going through a snowstorm. I don't worry about the radiator. However, Ford Motor Company decided, well, yeah, can it mean that you're overheating, or that you don't have oil pressure? So I got a new engine. Back to you.
All right. I'll tell you something. There's so many things I'm grateful for. The one that comes to mind is I turned 71 in September, and I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful for still being employed, that my brain works and it works well, and that I can perform my very technical IT job at age 71. And I have a lot of flexibility. I don't feel a rush to retire. Uh, and so I'm grateful for being 71 years old, living the dream of getting to travel while I work. And let me tell you, my full-time salary is going to help pay for that radiator. So I'm grateful that I'm still getting a paycheck. And I am very grateful to be in Arizona right now, where the weather is warm, 60 degrees at night, and 85 degrees during the day. I get to swim outdoors. There was no way I was going to accompany Rick for those weddings in the cold, cold weather in Boston. No, I chose to stay here and enjoy this warm weather that I'm very grateful for. Back to you, Mr. Topics Master.
Yes, I remember in college there was one guy who was saying how he was going down to the southern hemisphere for Michigan winter. Of course, I don't think he was really gaining anything because he had an internship in Antarctica. And back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dale, for being an awesome table topics master and showing how ineffable we are as Toastmasters. Let's go back and to the second half of the meeting where we learn by growing and listening to our evaluators. And I'd like to introduce our general evaluator, Doug Thiessen. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you, Diamond Debbie. And yes, welcome to the evaluation portion of our meeting. So I will be leading this part of the meeting. As well, I am also the first evaluator, so I get to introduce myself as I provide Rick an evaluation for his speech. So please welcome me. Rick, you did a great job with your speech. I like the opening for your whole story. Are we going through difficult times right now? Kind of a fun, definitely relatable rhetorical question. Had a good ineffable quality to it to start up the speech and catch our attention. So nicely done. So your project was about speaking with purpose. In Toastmasters terms, that means that every speech needs to have a general purpose as well as a specific purpose, and those seem to be pretty clear. I'd say your general purpose was to entertain us, and you did that very well. And of course, your specific purpose was to tell us a story about flying and dealing with the airport during this shutdown. And you had a great story. It was descriptive, it was interesting. You definitely had humor throughout the speech. I particularly liked your vocal variety. You really did well in terms of the vocals. There were times when you were sort of loud and expressive, and I'm freezing here. And other times you'd slow it down, you'd soften your voice as you're being more introspective, and it made for really effective delivery of that content. And it brought our attention more into focus on in different parts and different times of your speech, where your voice was really well used to emphasize what you were saying and what you were feeling at those times. Now, the main area that I will challenge you to do more on is gestures. I didn't see a whole lot of your hands during the speech. And yeah, we only have a small frame that we deal with on video. But even so, I would like to have seen sometimes more gestures, more use of your hands that we could see. I did certainly enjoy when you raised your cap, talking about losing your hair. That was very effective. Great humor. I liked that one. I just want to challenge you to try and do it much more throughout to help add a bit more emphasis here and there. Overall, though, great speech. I really enjoyed it. I love the use of voice. And well done. Now we will come to the round robin part of the meeting, which will take another 4 minutes to call on anybody who would like to add some more feedback for Rick. So who would like to volunteer to go first on that? Anybody have feedback for Rick? Debbie. No, you were unmuted, Debbie. You're now muted.
Okay, here we go. For Rick's presentation, I really enjoyed the vocal variety, the ups and the downs of his speech, and the pacing was consistent to where it should be in the development of the story. So great job on the vocal variety and things like that. Just remember when you, especially you're on a microphone, watch how close you get to the mic, especially when you're louder, because sometimes the mics reverberate a little bit and gets a little tinny. So just be careful of the mics you're using and how close you get there and the volume that you're using, because it could affect how it comes through into our speakers. And that was just the one thing that I noticed that could make it even more enjoyable is just make sure the microphone's not overpowered by the volume. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you, Debbie. Who else would like to provide a bit of feedback on Rick's speech? I see Dale.
Yes, I'm amazed that Rick is actually willing to put up with a house at 50 degrees. Last time I thought it was going to be in that one, I came all prepared. And then it was with Michigan in October, and it's never been supposed to be 80 degrees there, but it was. But that's something I certainly wouldn't have the heat on when I was at Rick's house. And hopefully remembering to turn it off afterwards. Back.
Thanks for your comments, Dale. We still have time for some more. Is there anyone else who would like to add some feedback?
I'll add. Rick, this is my first time getting an opportunity to meet you and to hear you speak. And I just want to second, or maybe it's third, that the vocal variety, it really draws you in as a speaker. And it's very obvious that you are talented in that part of it. And I just really look forward to getting to learn more from you. So thank you.
Thanks, Megan. As a rabbi, Rick has definitely had an opportunity to speak a few times. Anyone else? In which case, we will move on. And I can introduce our second speech evaluator who will be giving feedback on Lori's speech. So please welcome Gail.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Lori, I really enjoyed your speech. I think you did a great job. I liked the way that you asked us if our impression of a vacation is it should be rosy and fabulous. Of course, I know that things don't always go that way. I like your descriptions. I liked how you showed emotion. You were talking about hugging your fellow Toastmasters in Cleveland and during the sushi dinner, and that was great. I really liked how at the end, towards the end, I liked your gestures about when you were talking about you had your hand on your heart and you were talking about how you had such a wonderful time with us in Cleveland. That was great. I think you had some good vocal variety during those times with both kinds of emotions, the positive emotions and also the emotions associated with your radiator problems and associated with that first guy not getting there, not arriving. So I liked your specifics a lot. How you mentioned that you got to the balloon place at the balloon festival at 6:15 a.m. And then you discovered that that was really too late, but luckily you had handicap parking, so that was great. And then you talked about how there were 11 roundabouts on the way to Sedona. And boy, that's quite a few. I hate roundabouts myself. You also gave more specifics when you talked about how much it was to fix the radiator, how much it was altogether with $7,500. And that's quite a chunk of change. And so I like your usage of language too. You were very, very descriptive when you were talking about how all the balloons looked when they were launched at the balloon festival. I have a few areas for improvement. Number one, I noticed before you actually started the speech, after you were introduced, you welcomed Megan and you talked about her. And really, at the beginning of the speech, you should just start right in. You can mention Megan later on. Also, I noticed with your eye contact that you looked to the side a few times, but in general, your eye contact was good. You usually looked at the camera. And all in all, it was a very good speech. I enjoyed it. And that's my evaluation. So now I will conduct the round robin. So who would like to go first? Doug.
Lori, I definitely enjoyed the speech as well. You always give great stories and a great presentation. One of the things that I quite enjoyed was just the descriptions of the trouble and the suspense as you were getting those engine and radiator problems and being forced to stop. I also quite enjoyed how you drew a contrast between when things were going well for the trip versus afterwards heading to Sedona and having all these problems. And it made for a nice contrast. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe you shouldn't have taken a left turn at Albuquerque. Back to you, Gail.
Thank you, Doug. Who has some feedback for Lori? Dale.
Yes, Laurie. I think that I heard in one place though that some people with camera, being constantly looking into the camera lens is like you're constantly staring at the person. So occasional breaks are good there for relieving that effect. When you're in person, you go from one person to another, not the same person all the time. I mean, hopefully you're at a Toastmaster meeting with more than two people there. I've had one or two cats, usually been at least three. I mean, once was that when none of the club members were there, but there are still six of us, including four guests. So, then back to Yale.
You're muted, Gail.
Oh, sorry about that, Megan.
Yes. Lori, I really appreciated the story and getting to know a little bit more about you. This isn't necessarily feedback on the speech, but I, like you, would also have not gone to Boston. I would have stayed where it was nice. So if you ever need crime to come join you and, sit by the pool with you, I'd be happy to do that. And then we can work on our, next level together.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Anybody else? Okay, I don't see anybody else's hand up, so this will end the round robin session. Now, so back to you.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
Thank you for providing some feedback and leading our round robin for Lori's speech. We now come to the table topics evaluation, in which our table topics evaluator will provide some feedback on any ineffable or frankly effable qualities of the various topics. Please welcome Diamond Debbie. You're muted, Debbie.
How's that? Better? Tabletop was really fun, and I like how it kept with the theme of the day for attitude of gratitude and working in the word of the day, ineffable. Because I was timer, I couldn't keep individual feedback, but one thing I can tell you, Toastmasters do display an attitude of gratitude all year round. That's probably one of the main reasons why I stay in Toastmasters, because it's fun, you feel appreciated, you get to appreciate other people, and it's just a remarkable way to spend time with people as you learn and grow. So with ineffable, I can't even describe it some days, but great job, everybody. You did a fantastic job answering the questions, and I won't go into my timer report yet, too early for that, but everybody did a fantastic job with the impromptu question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, for providing a little bit on the table topics. And now I actually get to call you for the timers report.
Okay, I do
So
have
right back
notes
to
for
you.
that. I am still on speaking, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. For our presenters, Rick, speaker number one, both presenters were 5 to 7 minutes. He ended at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. So if this was contest season, he would have qualified. For Lori Weiner, our speaker number two, was 7 minutes and 46 seconds. So she would have been disqualified if this had been a contest. So watch your timing increments. Table topics, which is 1 to 2 minutes. Doug was at 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Megan, 1 minute, 33 seconds. Myself, 2 minutes and 20 seconds because I forgot to look at the timer. Gail, 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Rick, 1 minute on the dot. Lori, 1 minute and 15 seconds. So great job, everybody there. For our evaluators, for 2 to 3 minutes, Doug Deason was exactly at 3 minutes. And for our round robin, that was 2 minutes and 41 seconds out of 4 minutes. Evaluator number two, Gail, was 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So she just squeaked by herself if this was contest season. And for the round robin, we spent 3 minutes and 9 seconds on that. So we did very good in managing our time. I wish I could do these reports at work. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Debbie, for giving us our timers report. And yes, I've definitely been to meetings which could really use a timer at work or conferences or things. And another thing that could definitely be needed at different conferences and presentations is an awe counter. So I will call upon our grammarian and awe counter, or word master, Megan, to give us the report for the day. Megan.
Right, fellow Toastmasters, Our word of the day was ineffable, and we all managed to work it in. Lori even got it in the text in the chat, so it worked out perfectly. Everyone hit the nail on the head with that one. As far as our ums and ahs go, Debbie, I didn't catch any during your Toastmastering. I got a couple uhs, a so, and in your table topics, but I particularly loved your trolley tour and making it an adventure. And then the evaluation, I just had an and That it was an and transition. Gail, I loved. I don't remember where you said it, but you were talking about the cat and how they were skittish and they blossomed. So it was fun to think of your cat in both types of attitude, I guess. Few ums and ahs throughout the evening, and during the evaluation, a couple of ums. Rick, I found that I didn't find a lot of ums and ahs, but I found when you were discussing a conversation, it was so I said, so she said, so they, that type of thing. So not in regular speaking, but when you were describing the conversation, that's where I found that piece a little bit. Lori, in your speech, I didn't find barely any. I did a couple of ums and a stutter specifically when you were talking about the engine work, but I think when we're talking about something that's not our wheelhouse, that happens a lot. Doug, I had, I think was one of the ways that you started. And then you had a transition of and then Megan has had lots of wells and uhs and ums in there as well, but I am working on it. And that is my grammarian / Wizard of Oz report for this evening.
Thank you, Megan, for giving us a report on the use of ineffable and where we may have also effed up. Now we come to our listener role, our Harkmaster, who is going to give us a quiz. And everybody can unmute for this part. We just call out answers as we might know them. So, Gail.
Okay. Thank you, General Evaluator. In Rick's speech, where is Lori during the time that Rick had to go home to do his job?
She got to stay in Arizona.
Yes, that's right. What time did Lori drive Rick to the airport?
9 a.m.
Very good.
Abby.
What time did Rick arrive back in Boston?
I think about 3 o'clock.
That's right, 6 p.m. That's right. Very good. What was Rick's cancellation fee on his flight back?
$99.
That's right.
That's for his next flight in December.
Mm-hmm. What was the temperature in Rick's house when he got back to Boston?
50.
50 degrees.
Yeah, that's right.
He didn't tell you that I'm the one who programs the thermostat.
Oh,
That's why he's freezing his tush off.
okay. How does Megan feel about Toastmasters?
Well, she loves it. It came at a dark period for her.
Adult socialization.
Yeah. What is the word? It's the word of the day. How she felt.
Ineffable.
Ineffable.
Okay. What is Doug thankful for?
The cats.
Yes, that's right. What stood in the way of Diamond Debbie and her fiance going to Jamaica?
Hurricane Melissa.
Right.
Hurricane.
What is Rick grateful for?
Friendships. Friends.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Yes,
Right.
right. And what is Lori grateful for?
That she can still work and her brain still works well at 71.
Right. Okay, that concludes my quiz. Back to you, General Evaluator.
All right. Thank you, Gail, for helping us check on how well we've been listening today. It sounds like we've done fairly well overall. This brings us to a general evaluation for the meeting. I think so far we've been having a very good meeting. We've had a few people who are not available today. One speaker got called out on a family issue and had to cancel. That sort of thing happens, but Rick stepped right in to take a speech role, and we thank him for that. And we're all there ready to grab opportunities as they come up. So nicely done there. I started the meeting just a little bit late because I needed to get the recording going. I need to get that working a little bit quicker next time, but oh well. Now, Debbie, as our Toastmaster, did a great job in opening the meeting and giving an opening thought on our theme of gratitude, and I loved her showing the jar of gratitude that she keeps on the Thanksgiving time. Um, it worked very well for providing a nice thought for the day, and she did a good job in terms of introduction, so well done. Dale giving our table topics did well on the theme. Dale is very good at coming up with topics in a somewhat impromptu basis based on what's already been talked about today. One area I could challenge Dale on is when we had a longer list, we've got 6 people we can do topics for today. And if we had more in attendance, we try to get everybody to do a topic. The questions started to become more the same toward the end. So watch out in terms of preparation. You might want to have a few more ideas for the later topics so we don't repeat ourselves. Debbie did well as our timer. Had those backgrounds nicely posted. As the table topics evaluator, the being timer as well kind of interfered on that front because we do need to be able to concentrate. And when we're multitasking, some things work and others definitely don't. So this is something that we might want to be aware of, that being timer or grammarian during table topics is not suitable for also being the topics evaluator. So something we can all think about when we're picking roles. I think Megan did a great job as our grammarian counter today. Gave some good feedback on different aspects of grammar. So nicely done, as well as a good word of the day that we did not, I think we all managed to use, although I think it's also a word that we don't tend to use. So that was a very well chosen word. So overall, we've had a nice meeting, couple of great speeches, good table topics. I will turn things back to our Toastmaster, Debbie.
Thank you, Doug. Great job filling multiple roles. I appreciate it. Everybody did a fantastic job with our agenda and our theme of the day. Just a reminder to our evaluators, please either use the access in Free Toast or go into Toastmasters International and complete the evaluation and send it to the speaker so they have that for future reference. And there are ways in the portal to do that. If you need technical help, please let us know. One of the club officers can assist you. We have, this is November. Do we meet in December?
We would meet in December, yeah.
Yeah, okay, just checking
And the
because every
second
club's a
Monday
little.
is not close enough to Christmas to
Okay,
stop us.
all right, great. Our next meeting would be December 8th. And we have many roles available. Is this a time to do it, or you want to do it after your announcements, Doug?
I think we have a couple of items of business that we want to do, and then we can move to the agenda.
Okay, very good. I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. First, I would like to ask our newest member and our area director, Megan. I believe this is your official visit as area director, am I right?
It is.
So I'm going to ask you to give a couple of comments on the meeting then in your other hat.
Let me take one hat off and put the other hat on here for a minute. I think this club is such an exciting and interesting part of our division. I remember meeting you guys, a couple of you, for the first time at a division event about this time last year and learning about MATO for the first time and knowing immediately it was something that I wanted personally to be involved with. So when my area director assignment also included MATO as my group, it really just felt like serendipity. It just felt like it was kind of meant to be in that way. And coming into this club, I think that initial impression, that moments of truth, you guys do such an amazing job. And it's obviously because you're all experienced Toastmasters in that sense. The one thing that I would love to see us do is just having more people. This is such a valuable opportunity. And I think that there are some exciting ways over the next, couple of months we can figure out ways to get more people excited and interested and having more attendance, because I think the more people that we have, the more feedback and the different kinds of feedback that we get, and that diversity of thought just makes us all a little bit better. So I'm very grateful to be here and be part of this club as a member, but also really excited to be the area director that gets to learn from this club and to also bring some new ideas.
Thank you, Megan, for giving us a bit of feedback as our area director as well. Now we have another item of business to do. Megan is a brand new member, so we need to conduct a club induction for Megan. So I'd like everybody to line up and get out your pickleball paddles so that we can induct.
I joined the right club.
You can do.
No, seriously though, I would like to do a bit of an induction on the Toastmasters Promise. Megan, you can unmute yourself, and I will ask you to affirm a few questions that I will ask you from the Toastmasters Promise. Megan, do you promise to attend meetings regularly to the best of your ability?
I do promise to attend to meetings regularly to the best of my ability.
Great. And do you promise to prepare for your roles and projects to the best of your ability and base your speeches on the Toastmasters education program?
Yes, I will.
Excellent. Thank you. And do you promise to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow?
Yes, I absolutely promise to do that.
Thank you, Megan. Now I'm going to turn to the rest of the club and ask you a few questions from the Toastmasters Promise that you will affirm to Megan. Do you promise to treat our new member with the respect and courtesy she deserves?
Yes.
We will.
We do.
Yeah. Do you promise to help maintain positive feedback and productive feedback for Megan in the roles and the projects that she does?
Yes, we will.
Yes.
Wonderful. I will also treat that as a vote of confidence for Megan as a member of our club.
Mhm.
So welcome, Megan, to Maverick Advanced Toastmasters Online.
Welcome.